And another thing, hold up, let me get this straight. So, are you telling me all this talk that be coming from the black MAGA, black Republican, black conservative side, those on Front Street, and even the back street alleyway black conservatives, like the folks in the FBA crowd and the ADOS and the Soul Tans or whatever else they be calling themselves, the lineage movement, all these people trying to point out the Democrats, they're dividing and conquering. It's them that's doing it. The Democrats are choosing black immigrants to try and represent the foundational black American. And then they're against reparations. Y'all got all that smoke for the Democrats, but you don't say nothing about the Republicans doing the same thing. Here in Virginia, Winsome Sears, black woman, trying to make history as the first black governor of the state. I hope she loses. She's a black immigrant. I can't find y'all on my algorithm no more. I can't find y'all on my feed no more. Where is all the political exposés? Where is all the critiques? Where is all the yapping about how horrible the strategy is to support a black person who ain't really a black person just to pull the wool over our eyes? Y'all ain't got no smoke for Winsome Sears. Y'all ain't got no smoke for the Republican Party for choosing her. So that's my question. Just one of the questions that came to me on my morning walk. These are the morning musings of Shabazz with the proper perspective, as I am trying to give Shango a few moments of recreational activity. So the lady running for the top dog spot, she's against reparations. Y'all ain't calling that out. Winsome Sears don't believe reparations is needed. She said it publicly. She said it loud and proud. Don't hear y'all calling that out. You see, here's the thing. If you really are about reparations, if you really are in favor of reparations, then you call out both parties. You call out all parties that are against you. But if you only call out one party, and this goes for either side, if you're pro-Democrat and you only call out the Republicans for anti-reparations campaigns, talks, conversations, and whatever, then you're not really about reparations. You're just pro-Democrat. If you're a pro-Republican and you only talk about the Democrats aren't going to give you reparations, then you're not for reparations. You're just pro-Republican. If you can be silent about all candidates, about any candidate who opposes reparations, then you ain't for reparations. You just like to talk. You just like to run your mouth and bump your gums. Or something more sinister. You just like to be the back alley Republican. The in the closet black MAGA. The coon of the COINTELPRO train. Coon Intel Pro. And that's why, or perhaps that's why, I can't find you on my algorithm. I can't find any black conservative, black MAGA, black FBA, black ADOS. Where y'all at? Why ain't y'all talking smack about, why ain't y'all blowing up the spot about Winsome Earls and her her selloutism. So again, my train of thought is about, are you really for reparations? Now, I could say it's about Winsome Earl Sears, and she's a talking point of the conversation. But that's not really what's at hand here. We are supposed to be talking about and fighting for reparations at every turn. There should never be a month where our timelines are not being blown up over reparations. And anybody, me included, if we only talk about reparations during the presidential election, we don't want reparations. We just want to talk. We should be talking about reparations once a week, national platforms. Now, if I had a national platform, you'd get that from me. But I'm building my channel one day, one thought, one pro-black thought at a time. But I don't see a plethora. Again, I'm searching and I don't see it. I don't see it on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I don't see none of the people who scream bloody murder when the Democrats run the first black woman. How come y'all not running? How come y'all not jumping? How come y'all not blasting the first black woman in this Virginia election? You do know you have to win the reparations fight. You got to win it state by state just as much and just as badly as you got to win it on a national level. Now, if you are going to be of the type that only talks about it during election cycles, okay, I'll take back what I just said and I'll say it this way. This is an election cycle in Virginia. This is a state. This is the home of slavery. Virginia is the birthplace of many of the legalized stratagems that institutionalized slavery for this country. And y'all ain't got no smoke for this black immigrant who don't want to open up the coffers for black Americans or any black people in this country. Because black Americans aren't the only group that deserves reparations. Now, we deserve reparations for the specific harms that came to us because of slavery and Jim Crow and so on. But there are multiple forms of reparations. Don't get it twisted. Don't let those other oddballs back you into a corner where you think there's only one reparations claim. Because the problem with that thinking is, if you think there's only one and so you're fighting for you and yours only, that's how you alienate other groups who might side with you. If you support my cause, I support your cause. But if you vilify me, well, I will either ignore you entirely or I will vilify you back. And now the puppeteers of white supremacy are winning on either side of that. But again, let's talk about this Virginia election. Let's talk about reparations. And I am not saying because she's against reparations, we need to automatically vote for the Democratic candidate. I don't like that chick either. But at the end of the day, you got one of two choices. You vote Democrat, you vote Republican. Maybe a third choice, you don't vote at all. But I don't think even in Virginia, not voting at all is a viable option if you understand the battlefield. Because not voting means you're giving up a spot. Each candidate represents a spoke on the wheel. Each candidate represents a soldier in the army. Now, I don't care what you say. You can say the Democrats ain't really about it. I will say they are more about it than the Republicans. The Republicans have told you over and over again, every time you ask, absolutely not. They say hell no. The Democrats are at least sitting there on the fence. Well, maybe we should study it. I'm just not sure. Acting like a swing state. Well, you can push a maybe into a yes. You can't push a no. The most you're going to be able to push an absolutely no to is a maybe. And we've waited too long to be working on pushing no's into maybes. The fight, the most realistic fight, the most calculated fight is to push all the maybes into the yes column. That's how you win. You don't work on a Hail Mary pass. You work on something that is realistic. And with that said, yes, you would have a lot easier time pushing the Democratic candidate into the yes column than you would the Republican. There are no Republican has even said it needs to be studied. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't mind being wrong. If it's, well, actually, there was one way back in the day. I ain't talking about, the historical ones. Because when you look at the historical ones, if you talk about the Abe Lincoln era, that don't count. If you're talking about modern day politicians, fine. I'd love to find out there is a black Republican candidate, elected official or whatever, who did say, at the very least, it should be studied. And they were honest and sincere about it. If they're being sarcastic, that doesn't count. But at the very least, if the fight is to get across the finish line, you don't get across the finish line with the people that are walking away from the conversation. You get across the finish line with the people that say, I'm open to hearing you. And then you fight like bloody hell to get them to go from, I'm open to hearing you, to, well, ain't that a bit? Well, you actually make a good point. Because that's where you're going to get it. You're not going to move a brick wall. So why you keep screaming at a brick wall? Or why are you quiet and silent about the wall that's willing to move? But again, so these are my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. We can duke it out on the battlefield. This is Shabazz with the proper perspective. Please make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure when you hit that subscribe button, hit all. They give you an option for all. They give you an option for personalized. All personalized means is we ain't gonna send you shit. Hit all and you will get the notification when I load up another video, a morning musing, Shabazz around town, or a deep dive. And I will see you on the next, or we shall talk again.